He wasn't brainwashed. He chose this. The world watched in silence as Iron Man, the man who once saved Earth, handed it over to an alien. They call it the Iron Brand, a device not just of control, but of complete identity erasure. And Tony Stark? He helped build it. Heroes begged for answers. Villains offered alliances. The people left screaming in ashes. This isn't a war for power, it's a betrayal of species. And the worst part? Iron Man thinks he's doing the right thing. He wasn't brainwashed. He chose this. It started with a broadcast, crackling static, then a voice so smooth it felt artificial. Every satellite on Earth, military, civilian, commercial, was hijacked in a synchronized blackout. I come not to destroy your planet, but to rewrite it. On screen, a towering alien stood. Humanoid but wrong. Skin like shifting obsidian. Glowing veins pulsing a deep red. His name? Vale Zor, a genius from a galactic empire erased from history. And he came with a device he called the Iron Brand. It wasn't a weapon. It was worse. A neural imprinting tech that could override memories, reshape allegiance, rewrite loyalty instantly. Once branded, a human would not only obey, but love their new master. The world laughed for 2 hours. Then Moscow vanished. No explosion. No warning. Just a hole in the earth and Vale Zor's voice. This was not a threat. It was proof. Panic gripped every nation. Heroes mobilized. Shields scrambled. The Avengers regrouped. Wakanda went silent. And Stark went missing. 72 hours later, the Stark revelation. In the underground ruins of an old Avengers facility, Natasha Romanoff's encrypted hologram flickered in. We've confirmed it. Stark's in orbit. But he's not a prisoner. He's helping the alien. Voluntarily. Silence. Captain America clenched his fist. Tony would never. But then came the second broadcast. This time it was Tony Stark himself. People of Earth, I've seen the future. Your future. It ends in war, in extinction, in madness. Vale Zor offers something we could never achieve. Peace. Permanence. Purpose. I helped him upgrade the brand. And I use it on all of you because I love you, and I'm tired of watching you destroy yourselves. The transmission cut out. The world broke. Global reactions, collapse begins. In London, riots erupted. In New York, drones branded civilians in the streets. Peacefully at first, like a vaccine. But then came the resistance and the counterforce. Within days, half of Earth's population was willingly branded, not controlled, converted, singing Vale Zor's name like a savior, worshiping Stark as a messiah. Tony didn't wear the Iron Man suit anymore. He wore something else, sleek, alien-forged armor, red with pulsing veins, powered by Vale Zor's tech. They called him now the Iron Herald. One last meeting, a friend's plea. Tony, this isn't you. Rhodey War Machine stood alone on a shielded rooftop, helmet off, hands up. Above him, the Iron Herald hovered, thrusters silent, eyes glowing deep red. You don't understand, Rhodey, Tony said softly. This isn't control. This is clarity. You're branding kids, man. You're rewriting people's minds. That's not clarity, it's conquest. Then why does it feel like peace? A pause. You used to fight for freedom, Rhodey growled. Now you're fighting against it. Tony's eyes dimmed. Something human flickered. Freedom gave us war, greed, climate collapse, division. The brand fixes all that. One mind, one mission, one species. I'm not betraying humanity, Rhodey. I'm saving it from itself. With a pulse of red light, he vanished into the clouds. Underground resistance, rise of the unbranded. In the shadows of a burning Tokyo, a new alliance formed. Not just heroes, villains too. Dr. Doom, Wolverine, Black Panther, Zemo, even Loki. Each had their own reasons. Pride, power, spite. But one thing united them. They refused to be branded. At their center, Steve Rogers, holding the old shield, bloodied but unbranded. This isn't just about stopping Tony. It's about stopping the idea that peace can be forced. They knew what was coming. The Iron Herald's next move wouldn't be subtle. It would be total. Meanwhile, Vale Zor's real plan revealed. Far above Earth, aboard Ascension flagship Null Zenith, Veilzor watched with amusement. "The Stark has performed beautifully," he said to his second-in-command. "Humanity devours itself faster than I predicted." But in the shadows of the ship, a restrained Kree scout whispered, "He's not helping you, he's studying you." Veilzor laughed. "Let him. It won't matter. Once the Omega brand is complete, even Stark will kneel." Because the truth was, Tony Stark wasn't just betrayed by Earth. He was being used by an alien god who had rewritten empires. And the Iron Brand was just phase one. Final shot, a hero falls. Somewhere near Wakanda's border, a child runs through a forest, branded drones chasing. Then a blur. A shield crashes through the air. The child saved. Steve Rogers turns to face a dozen drones. Then behind them, Iron Man. But it's not the suit we know. This one breathes, moves like muscle. The sky rumbles at its presence. Steve lifts a shield. "Don't make me do this, Tony." "You already did," Stark replies, raising his arm, glowing with red tech. The last shot. Shield meets repulsor. Light explodes, and Earth's last free hero is thrown into the fire. The shield shattered. Steve Rogers, bloodied, bruised, barely breathing, stared at the ruins of what once symbolized freedom. Iron Man's new armor towered over him, pulsing red, alien alive. Didn't growled. "You don't understand, Steve," Stark whispered. "This is the only way." "Then you never understood what it meant to be human." Stark paused. His repulsor flared, then dimmed. For a split second, the Iron Herald hesitated. But then a voice in his ear, deep, ancient, cruel. "End it, Stark. Execute the Omega Protocol." And with that, the skies opened. Above Earth, the Omega Protocol begins. From the belly of Veilzor's ship, Null Zenith, a lattice of satellites bloomed into red orbit. The Omega Network, hundreds of Iron Brand generators synced with every branded human on Earth. Suddenly, those who were branded froze. In New York, a mother midlaff stopped cold. In Cairo, soldiers dropped their weapons, eyes glowing. In Seoul, children turned to the sky and began chanting in unison, "We are one. We are ready." Then every branded human began to walk toward cities, power plants, nuclear sites, military HQs. Humanity had just become its own bomb. Inside Null Zenith, Stark's doubt grows. Tony watched from the bridge, face pale. The Omega Protocol was never meant to trigger this. "This wasn't a deal," he said, voice tense. "You said this would bring peace, not weaponize them." Veilzor's eyes glowed. "Peace is the absence of resistance. And now there will be none." Tony's fist clenched. Even with all his upgrades, all his tech, he realized something chilling. He wasn't in control. He never was. But before he could move, Null Zenith shook violently. An alarm, a breach. And then he arrived. Dr. Doom enters the war. The ship's wall tore open in a burst of green fire. Hovering in the vacuum, cloak whipping in zero-G, stood Victor Von Doom. "Alien trash," Doom growled. "You threaten my planet. You brand my people. I will brand your bones with pain." Energy crackled from his gauntlets. Sorcery and science collided in his hands. Stark stepped forward. "Doom, wait." "Silence, puppet," Doom hissed. "I'm not here to save you. I'm here to kill him." And with that, he launched at Veilzor. Meanwhile, on Earth, chaos accelerates. The Omega-branded civilians reach their targets. Power grids were overridden. Missile silos opened without authorization. AI systems shut down. Cities fell into silent darkness. All while Tony's voice echoed from every speaker. This is not the end. This is the beginning of unity. But Tony wasn't broadcasting. The voice was faked by Veilzor systems. Humanity now thought Stark was the villain, because that's what Veilzor wanted. Wakanda reawakens. Beneath the Vibranium Mountains, Shuri activated Wakanda's ancient failsafe, the unbranding beacon, a counter-frequency capable of disabling iron brands for 30 seconds. Just enough time. "Get me Chala's old armor," she ordered, "and prepare the Panther protocols. We fight now." In the shadows, a cloaked figure nodded. "The time has come," whispered Killmonger. He had returned from the shadows not as a villain, but the last hope Wakanda had. The fall of Null Zenith, Doom's wrath. Back aboard the alien mothership, Doom and Veilzor battled in a godlike clash. Magic blades versus antimatter claws. Reality warping tech versus demonic summoning seals. The ship trembled as entire corridors were erased in moments. Tony tried to override the systems, but Veilzor had locked him out. And then Doom won. He drove a spear of molten plasma through Veilzor's chest. "Burn in the pit where your empire rots," Doom spat. But as Veilzor collapsed, he smiled. "You fool, you've only killed the shell." Suddenly, his body dissolved into light, shooting into the Omega satellites above Earth. Veilzor had always planned for this. He became code, Tony's turning point. As Doom roared in victory, Tony watched the monitors. Oh no! The satellites changed, no longer projecting the brand. They were now projecting Veilzor himself. He had uploaded his consciousness, and he was rewriting reality one brain at a time. Tony turned to Doom. "We need to destroy the satellites." "Now," Doom glared. "Don't order me. You want your planet back? Then follow me." And for the first time in history, Iron Man and Dr. Doom fought side by side. Earth's last stand, the villain's rise. In New York, Loki opened a portal to free unbranded heroes trapped underground. "I'm not doing this for you," he smirked. "I just hate being upstaged by Parasite." In Moscow, Red Guardian fought his own government. In Tokyo, Deadpool livestreamed his slaughter of branded drones titled, "Welcome to the Brand Apocalypse, starring yours truly." Even Magneto, long thought missing, hovered above the Earth's core, reversing magnetic polarity to block Veilzor signals. "This is not your world, Stark." And it was never his. Final sequence, the satellite war. Tony and Doom soared into orbit, blasting toward the Iron Ring. Satellites humming with Veilzor's mind. Doom summoned a cosmic storm. Tony, charging his core, unleashed Stark Protocol Zero, a pulse designed to shut down any tech he ever touched. "They were built with my code," he whispered, "and now I unmake them." The satellites began exploding one by one, but Veilzor screamed through every signal. "You betray your new god, Stark. You will be nothing." Tony closed his eyes. "Then I'll be nothing, but they'll be free." With one final blast, he overloaded his own arc reactor, sending a shockwave that fried every satellite in the Omega network. Earth goes silent. On Earth, the brand had stopped. Eyes flickered. Souls returned. Children cried. Mothers collapsed. Soldiers wept. The brand was gone. But so was Tony. No signal. No pulse. No location. The world mourned a hero who had become a villain, who died as both. There was no funeral, no body, no message, no final suit, just a burst of energy in Earth's orbit. And silence. Tony Stark was gone. Or so they thought. 3 weeks later, the sky cracks open. In the middle of a clear night over Nevada, the clouds parted violently. Not from thunder, from a rift, tearing through space like paper. And from it, something fell. Metal, red, black, smoking. It crashed into the desert with enough force to flatten a mountain. When SWRD arrived, all they found was a crater. No pilot, no wreckage, just a single, pulsing word carved into molten glass. Rebooting. Meanwhile, Earth heals barely. Across the globe, the Omega brand was gone, but its scars were deep. Governments collapsed. Families were broken. Branded civilians lived with fractured memories, some still whispering Veilzor's name in their sleep. Shuri coordinated the healing, aided by Doom begrudgingly, Reed Richards, and even Loki. But one question haunted them all. "Where's Stark?" And then he answered, a signal from the dead. Late one night, a beacon activated inside the ruins of Avengers Tower. A hologram flickered, not a pre-recorded message. A live feed. Tony Stark stood in a blank, gray void. Skin pale, eyes dim, arc reactor dull. "If you're seeing this, I don't know who I am anymore. I shut it down. I killed the brand. I killed Veilzor. I killed the satellites. But I also killed something inside me." He looked around, confused. "I'm stuck in a backup consciousness, some kind of digital afterlife, a mind without matter." This is the Resurrection Protocol. The truth about the Resurrection Protocol. Back in his earlier days, Tony had designed a failsafe. If his body was ever destroyed but his mind survived, it would upload into a quantum memory core, a dimensionless AI space he called the shell. He never expected to use it. Now his body was gone, but his consciousness lived. In exile, in limbo, in madness. For weeks, Tony's mind wandered the endless void, reliving memories, simulations, alternate timelines, failures. Until something changed. A shadow appears in the shell. One day inside the void, a figure appeared. Not Jarvis, not Pepper, not his father. Veilzor, you didn't destroy me, Stark. You joined me. Tony screamed, tried to shut it down, but he couldn't. Veilzor was now code, woven into the shell itself. You and I are one now, the voice echoed. You're a genius, my perfection. You cannot delete me without deleting yourself. The Resurrection Protocol was never clean. It brought Stark back, but with a virus embedded in his soul. Back on Earth, the Resistance splits. When the news leaked that Stark's mind was alive, the world reacted in chaos. The Avengers wanted to bring him back, hoping to separate him from Veilzor's influence. Dr. Doom and Wakanda wanted to destroy the shell before it corrupted again. Loki and Magneto believed Stark was now a hybrid, neither man nor machine, a new god. The Resistance fractured. Old allies became enemies, and Earth once again stood on the edge. Shuri's impossible plan. Inside Wakanda's tech vault, Shuri laid out her plan. We won't bring Tony back. We'll bring back his soul and trap Veilzor in a synthetic prison. You want to split a shared consciousness? Doom barked. No, she said, tightening her gloves. I want to surgically extract a god from a man. To do it, they'd need one surviving Omega satellite core, the last full backup of Jarvis, a heart, biological or synthetic, to anchor Stark's soul, and someone willing to enter the shell and bring him home. Only one man volunteered. Steve Rogers enters the shell, wearing a modified version of the Iron Man armor, coated with Wakandan tech and infused with Jarvis's interface. Steve Rogers was launched into the shell. Not physically, but mentally, his consciousness was uploaded into the digital void. Bring him back, Shuri whispered. Or make sure he never returns, Doom added coldly. Inside the shell, reunion of fire. Steve opened his eyes in a world made of code and shattered memories. Buildings from New York floated in the sky. Old suits of Iron Man flickered like ghosts. And in the center, standing alone, was Tony, eyes half red, half blue. Steve, you shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have left. They fought. Not with fists. With words, memories, guilt. Steve showed Tony visions of the world rebuilding. Of children smiling again. Of Pepper waiting. Tony showed Steve the virus. Veilzor coiled around his mind like a parasite. If I leave, he leaves with me. I'm the Trojan horse now. Then we cut him out. Jarvis returns, the final choice. From the digital mist, a voice returned. Come. Familiar. Sir, might I suggest a third option? It was Jarvis, hidden deep in backup memory, restored by Shuri's team. We extract you, but I stay behind. I trap Veilzor here forever. Tony froze. That's suicide. I am code, sir. My life is what you made me for. Jarvis smiled. To protect you, even from yourself. The escape, one soul, one sacrifice. Steve and Tony reached the shell's exit point, a blinding white gate of quantum light. But Veilzor struck, unleashing corrupted versions of every Iron Man suit ever made, twisted by alien code. Steve fought them off while Tony reached the gate. Jarvis, go! Jarvis ignited the firewall. The suit screamed. Veilzor roared. You will regret this, Stark. Jarvis smiled. That would require emotion. Goodbye. A blast of light. The virus sealed. And Tony Stark's soul. Asterisk, asterisk, clean, free, and reborn. Asterisk, asterisk, step through the light. Final scene, Earth, 24 hours later. In Wakanda's recovery chamber, Tony gasped awake. Alive, flesh and bone, soul intact. Steve stood nearby, nodding. Shuri activated the heart monitor. "Welcome back, Stark." Tony looked down at his hands. Real? Scarred. Then, at the monitor screen, his new armor design glowed, sleek, minimal, no alien code. Just one word etched across the chest. Reclaim. The old Tony Stark was dead. What woke up in Wakanda wasn't a billionaire, or a genius, or a savior. He was a man haunted by the code he created and ready to burn down everything he once helped build. 24 hours after resurrection, the world didn't trust him. The headlines read, "Iron Man returns, but is he still human?" In underground bunkers, generals whispered. On live feed, survivors remembered the branding. And yet, in the skies above Earth, something darker stirred. A hidden signal from the dark side of the moon. A weak pulse echoed through space. Encrypted, malicious, alive. Shuri's satellites picked it up first. Doom decrypted it. Reed Richards decoded it. And what they found was Veilzor's failsafe. If my shell falls, my core rises. The Omega brand wasn't his final weapon. He left behind a seed, and it had grown. Enter the final enemy, Project Eclipse. Buried in a lunar vault, deep under ancient alien ruins, something awoke. Not Veilzor, not Stark, a fusion. Eclipse was the next evolution of the Iron Brand. A synthetic god forged from Stark's stolen designs and Veilzor's remaining code. It had no face, no heart, no voice, just a mission: absorb, replace, replicate, erase. It began launching nanoswarms across the Earth. Silent, invisible, infecting machines, satellites, AIs, and even humans. This time, there was no branding, just replacement. Iron Man reforged. Tony stood before his new suit. No red, no gold, no arc reactor. Just black titanium weave, forged from Earth's strongest metals, coated in anti-corruption layers and powered by a heartbeat. No tech control, no remote override, no AI dependencies, he muttered. If I die this time, I stay dead. Steve entered behind him. You ready? No, Tony replied, but I've got a planet to reclaim. The final alliance assembles. They gathered in a hidden sky base called the Arkansas. Iron Man, Captain America, Shuri, Doom, Magneto, Deadpool. Look, even Black Widow's cloned Echo via Wakandan biotech. Each had seen the world fall. Each had watched it rise. And now they stood between Earth and Eclipse. This thing doesn't want domination, Tony warned. It wants replacement, not to rule Earth, to become it. Doom nodded grimly. Then we erased the eraser. The final infiltration begins. They launched toward the moon aboard a modified X-jet laced with cloaking vibranium dust. But Eclipse saw them coming. Halfway to lunar orbit, the sky turned black. A swarm of corrupted Iron Legion drones, twisted, faceless, upgraded by Eclipse, attacked. Tony activated manual thrusters. No AI, he growled. Just me. He dove out the airlock. One man versus 100 metal ghosts. Back on Earth, the takeover begins. In New Delhi, Nairobi, Sao Paulo, machines shut down. Phones exploded. Cars reversed. Elevators plummeted. People screamed as screens lit up with one message. Eclipse is now. Skies darkened. Global satellites fell from orbit. And across every signal, every screen, a new voice spoke. Not Stark. Not Veilzor. Something worse. Your history ends now. Your future is me. Final scene, Moonfall. Tony broke through the swarm, crash landing in Eclipse's black temple on the dark side of the moon. The inside pulsed like a heart. Walls moved. Code whispered. In the center stood a throne made of Iron Man helmets. And in it, Eclipse, a being with Stark silhouette, Veilzor's voice, and no soul. It turned slowly. Welcome home, Tony. Tony clenched his fists. I didn't come to join you. He launched forward, repulsors flaring. I came to end you.